You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Vegas After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Vegas After Show.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, AFTERBUZZers. Bingers for doing. And tonight, we are doing CBS's Vegas first season, episode 15, Two of a Kind. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and joining me this evening are
the Nick Perdue.
Bamm Ericsen.
Nick Perdue and Bamm Ericsen joining me here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get right into this one, and we're going to start with something boring first, just to get it out of the way, which is the whole Ralph and Jack on this other whodunit. I guess the Two of a Kind title is referring to the mystery that the murder mystery they're trying to solve for this episode. So does anybody want to kind of recap what happened with that, Bamm?
I mean, so there was a murder.
Yes.
There was a murder, and the guy's name who was murdered his last name was
Latimer.
Yeah, Latimer.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he had two wives.
Yes.
And neither the wives were aware that the other two existed.
Doing it right.
Well, one of them.
Do you think she knew the first wife was?
I don't think the first wife knew. The second wife knew.
Nikish.
Second one always kind of knows.
Nikish, she was a jump off, and then
yeah.
she just probably got knocked up. But
Nadia Nikish.
Nadia Nikish, yeah. So she knew about the first wife. And because he told her that he was going to leave the first wife as soon as he got the money to pay for her surgery, because they had kids and he didn't want to leave her while she was trying to get the surgery. He probably would have caused a heart attack.
But what was interesting is she's like, oh, there's this new thing that that I'm waiting on, and it's called a pacemaker. And it's so it's so interesting because, like, this is 2013, so some of this stuff that they're referencing is like now old. It's like outdated. So like a pacemaker is like, you know, if you're in 2013, everyone knows what it is.
It's very common. It's a very common medical
procedure, medical device.
Device. And at that time, it was like state of the art, brand new future for, you know, I mean, everything has a time when it first came out. And it's just interesting to be in that world where that's a part of that time. So she was hoping to get the money in order to get this thing and have this procedure performed so she can have her heart dependent work. Have her heart work dependent on the pacemaker. So that was very interesting. The only thing about that whole plot, you know, it wasn't bad, that storyline. It was okay. The only thing for me that was kind of sucky for it was Nadia Nikish's brother, who had the issues with her husband, because initially they thought that the husband might have gotten killed by his brother-in-law, which was they thought he was Russian, but turned out to be Hungarian. And his accent was just
in and out.
Horrible. It was just, I mean, the accent when he was hitting it wasn't bad.
But
it was bad.
Sustain it.
It was like, it was like running a marathon. And you like, it's 26 point something miles, right? And you like die at 24 miles. It's like no bueno.
Well, it's kind of like he went 5 and then had to kind of re-up again, and then he went like another 5 and had to re-up again. So he didn't have it like, I don't know, it wasn't very, you know, he didn't keep it constant. That's kind of what it was.
The funny thing is, the dude's not a bad actor. Whoever he is, he's not a bad actor at all.
Yeah.
It was just the accent was a struggle because of some of those Americanisms, that were coming out. other than that, whatever. That part of the plot is something that we're used to, and it's not a big deal. Let's jump right into Dixon because they're playing with this Tommy Stone character that I really, really like. This guy who is in charge of all the entertainment affairs at the Savoy.
Brand new to the team.
He's new. He's young. He brings a fresh energy. This dude is ambitious.
He's hungry,
And he's real hungry. Yeah, you're right, Nick. He wants to get in there and, like, he wants to show what he can bring to the table. And he wants to prove his worth.
Yeah.
So I really like that. What are you about to say, Bamm?
I also like the fact how he mistook Mia for one of the showgirls and had the nerve to tell her, oh, well, you know, you're kind of hot, you know, you may want to give this a try.
You look good in some sequence and something else, a skirt or some sequence and something. He made the comment, but she would.
Yeah, she's a good-looking woman.
Mia's freaking hot. And he still called her boss after that, which was really funny. So the dude's got some swagger and he's got some charm about him, which makes sense. He's part of the entertainment business. So this guy comes into this to the Savoy, Barry Silver, who I guess is this big-time movie producer, and he comes in there with his entourage, and he has this little starlet with him.
And that's also he has Silver Studios, which is the next biggest movie company next to MGM.
Now, was that a real movie studio at the time?
No, it's not. But for me, just thinking of Silver, it made me think of like Joe Silver from Silver Pictures.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe it was
Joel's dad.
Oh.
Maybe there's some relation.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Everybody in Hollywood is like related in one way or another. I mean, Brad Pitt and Barack Obama are like ninth cousins. So I mean, who knows? Hollywood is very Wow. It's like really crazy. Like everybody's like related. It's like the royal family. Everybody's like keep it in the family.
It's like the royal.
Yeah.
It's how the rich stay rich.
It's like royal family trailer park. It's like very really close.
But I did like him. But since we're talking about Dixon, I did like Dixon because you know Dixon is a little young player.
Yeah.
And so the actress that Barry Silver wanted to protection was how Tommy came into play.
Right.
And so of course Tommy couldn't keep up with Violet, and then what happens is when they're on the sets, Violet, the actress, she got her parts, she got her dialogue cut. She only had like one word.
She was pissed.
So she was pissed off, and she was like, I want to talk to Barry right now. So she gets on a horse and she trottles along, and like, who knows how to ride a horse? Well, Dixon knows how to ride a horse, and because Dixon was hired by Tommy to be the bodyguard since he can keep up with her. And so then they have the little moment or whatever, and then when he comes back, the first thing that Barry said was, who's that guy? And of course, he could tell that she's looking, that Violet is looking at Dixon.
Checking him out.
Yeah.
And so...
A little spark.
He actually, you know, he showed some interest in her and showed, you know, made her believe in herself. I mean, to have your lines cut, you don't know whether they feel like you're really not an actress or whether it's budget or, you don't know what it's for. So... She's probably she's confused and you know all this stuff, and she's probably doubting her own ability and whatnot. And you have to believe in herself.
No, that's not it. Let's be honest. Barry is playing this girl. She's sleeping with the director.
The producer.
The producer.
Right.
He's banging.
Yeah.
And to ensure that she stays with him, I'm going to make you this big star. Because the first thing he was like, you know, we got budget cuts. You know, next time. He's stringing her along because she's a young hot thing, and that's the only way that he can get it in from.
He doesn't want to stop that gravy train.
And which is why he doesn't want Dixon to be a part of it. So he's playing her.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
He'll give her a little...
You know, the little Hollywood 101.
It wasn't even one. She said she had one line. It wasn't even one line. It was one word. It was, Henry! And that was it. And it was like, cut. She was like, Henry, what's going on? Oh my God. They were like, cut. Sorry. I want to talk to Barry right now in the middle of the desert. Like, really? Let me call him right now in the middle of the desert. You're funny. This is hilarious. She was just so demanding because he's catering to her because he just wants to make sure the power of the why is something else. Anyway, what it makes men do. There have been wars started over that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway, so Dixon, he's the bodyguard, and when Barry Silver told Tommy he doesn't want Dixon seeing her anymore, he's like, keep her away from him. That would go ahead and pretty much tell us that we can pretty much assume that she's going to be there for
Couple episodes.
Couple more episodes, future episodes. I mean, they're going to be there shooting a movie. Well, I don't know if she's picture wrapped or not because she did her one word and she was done. So I don't know. But I mean, I guess she's going to be in Vegas, and it probably is convenient for Barry to keep her out there anyway because he has a family back in Hollywood, a wife and kids or whatever. So he has to lead these two separate lives, which actually plays back into the title Two of a Kind, so to speak.
I just want to say one more thing about Dixon. When he pulled over Violet, you know, you automatically thought that he was going to let her off. But he gave her the ticket and said, well, you know, we'll see each other again because you will come into the sheriff's office to pay that ticket. So it goes to show that although he's girl crazy and he's a little young player, he's very aware of what he's responsible of his responsibilities, excuse me.
Right. And you know what's funny, case in point that you mentioned that. I mean, you know Dixon's really on the job because he was actually banging a girl. What was that? A week or two ago?
Yeah.
Come to find out she's the one that poisoned the people that died in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And he still was like, dang.
I gotta turn you in.
Dang, it was so good. I gotta take you in. You know, so the law actually comes first for this guy. He actually wants to prove first and foremost that he's an upstanding guy, he's a good cop, and he can solve crimes. Yeah.
And whodunits.
And I think it's a bigger deal. I think they've proven in his character that it's a bigger deal to prove that he is worthy of the big cases to his dad. You know, he wants to prove that to his father, which is a big deal. I think, you know what else is a big deal?
What's that?
iTunes.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So, guys, you know the big deal. You know what it is. Go on iTunes and subscribe. If you don't even have iTunes, go ahead and download iTunes. It's free. You can do it on your PC. You can do it on your Mac. Either way, just make sure it's on your computer so you can subscribe to the AfterBuzz or subscribe to our Vegas podcast and tell your friends. Tell your parents, tell your cousin that's in Yale right now. If he's bored, say, listen, you need something to do. Tune in to the Vegas podcast. You know, leave all your comments, thumbs us up, and we'll. But you don't like my
Yale?
I don't know. I'm saying because I thought of a school on the East Coast, and Yale happens to be on the East Coast.
Yale is on the East Coast, by the way.
And I had a friend who went to Yale. So
for those of you who are just now learning that, Yale is on the East Coast, along with most of the other Ivy League schools. I believe Stanford's the only other one that's Ivy League that's not on the East Coast. West Coast. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about Savino. Let's get into the meat of some of this stuff.
He got really mobster this episode.
This is what I like to talk about. Yeah, he's getting really like. Everybody's getting their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting a little grimy. So, Savino gets hit up by the FBI, which this whole FBI agent thing is really going to be interesting how this plays out.
It's a nice wrench that's been thrown into the situation right now.
FBI Bureau Justice. So, Alex, that was for you, wherever you are. So the FBI comes in, tells Savino they're going to be busting his balls for a little bit, and they're going to try to, hem him up. And he's, pretty much threatens Frank. They capture the skim. The skim keeps getting. What's funny about the skim is that in order to keep the guys in Chicago calm, they've been doubling up.
Yeah.
Because of Johnny Rizzo's death. So they're like, look, they know that we're sending over double skim, so they don't give a shit. They don't give a hoot. They don't give a beep about Johnny, right?
Yeah.
So not Johnny, but Vinny, who's Vincent, he is sending over double skim to get these guys, keep these guys off his back.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it keeps getting intercepted by the powers that be. I don't understand why he's not able to get the skim. Why is it so hard? I mean, you have an organization of guys working for you. How come you can't get this money? They didn't have wires. I mean, they didn't have. Dude, they had fake accounts and all that stuff back then. They could have wired that money. They could have done something. They didn't have to actually send it in cash. I don't think. But maybe there's something I'm missing. but I think they could have. I think they're making it harder than what it is.
It really is.
Yeah, it's just
kind of overcomplicating.
I think they overcomplicated it. I think they overcomplicated it, but they're probably used to doing it an easy way. And they're probably just getting cracked down on. Is when you're used to being lazy about something and it's being kind of like run of the mill, it's probably easy to get caught in like ways that are just really careless and simple. And then when that right attention gets put on it, now it's getting.
Well, I mean, because like
thank you, skim.
If they've been passing cash around for years, and it's like, why are we gonna do the whole wiring thing?
Right.
So if it's not broke, then don't fix it. But apparently now, it is broke.
Well, the funny thing is about what's broken is this situation with Jack and Mia. Because Jack and Mia, Savino was putting Jack's relationship with Mia in a vice grip.
Yeah.
So now you have Jack being put between a rock and a hard place with this situation with Mia, and you can see he's going to crack. Yeah. Between the FBI's investigation and them getting closer to finding out who this third guy is, the ADA doing her job and discovering who is the third person. They're good at what they do. Ralph is good at what he does. The ADA is good at what they do. Now the FBI is involved. This dude is cracking under pressure. Plus he's taking a shower, looking at cattle prod scars on his chest. He's stressed out. You're about to say something, Bamm. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna go right into the scene from the very beginning. Scene with he in the shower. He's flashbacking to all the things that's going on in his mind.
Right.
Then he takes forever. Mia's like, damn, you take longer than a girl, and like he didn't really have a response. He was just kind of like out of it the whole episode.
Well, that he was really thinking about keeping Mia because Mia thinks that Savino did it.
That, yeah.
Okay. Then when the tow truck comes to get Savino's car, they found the car in the desert. Then the bellhop or the valet tells us like, yeah, we found. This car was found. It was in the desert on Thursday. Did she say? She said, you said Thursday, right? Thursday. That's what she knows. Her dad was killed on that day.
Right.
So now she automatically thinks
that's Savino.
That's Savino. Yeah. Savino killed my dad. She goes to tell Jack he did kill my dad, and you could tell she's got that Rizzo in her. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she looks like she might shoot a you know what?
Yeah.
In the butt. So you got to watch out.
Yeah.
Women can be very powerful when they put their minds to it, especially a woman like Mia.
Yeah.
Mia is intelligent and savvy and gorgeous.
Well, because they say ain't no fury like a woman scorned.
Exactly. Yeah. And she's a mob daughter. That's no bueno. There's no positive points about that if you piss this chick off, I swear. And good thing Jack is so square because I think this is probably the only thing that would actually piss her off. But when it boils down to it, I think she's going to have to forgive him. I think she knows he's a square. And let's talk about that because he finally admits to her that he did it. Savino comes to him and says, look, you take this license plate and blah, blah, blah because they're trying to divert attention with the skim so they can finally get the skim to Chicago.
Yeah.
And Jack wasn't going for it at first until Savino got uber evil on him, like uber gangster on him.
Yeah, and you're that's where the mafioso Savino came out.
Yeah, he got a little Rizzo on him and was like, you're gonna do this or Mia's gonna find out and you don't blah 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 yada yada yada. So I think this is in later times when law enforcement realizes it's not wise to let people know your personal blah, blah, blah. They learned a lot of this back in the early days where it was, I think it was like honorable to bring out your lady or who that person is. And now that's no bueno. It's no good.
Life private.
Yeah, you gotta keep your life private. They should have never known that she had this relationship going on. But if they would have never found this stuff out, everything else triggered and domino effect into everything else, which ended up leading to Johnny's death, which ended up leaving Vincent in charge, which is what the ultimate goal was for the camp anyway.
Can we go back to when Jack told Mia the truth, when he revealed?
She made him dinner. She said there was this invention called the recipe. That was hilarious because she's obviously not a domestic woman. Anyway, go ahead, Bamm.
And then so he goes on to explain what happened. I didn't actually think he was even going to get that in. I thought the moment that he revealed that he killed her dad, I thought she was going to go off. So he got in more words than I thought.
Right, me too.
You know, so he revealed, you know, it was self-defense.
Yeah.
But are you surprised at her response?
No, I'm not surprised at her response. I think, for me, the writing for that scene was on point.
Yeah.
The acting was on point. That scene just worked completely because it was true to the situation, the writing, the acting was true to the characters. So
it wasn't overdone. And
it wasn't overdone. And now for me, that really thickens everything because she is going to get down to the bottom of this and find out
what happened.
I mean, he confessed more to his brother than he told Mia because he said some, but he didn't get a chance to really tell her everything.
Yeah.
And in her heart, deep down, she knows. She knows. She knows her boyfriend's a square, and she knows. Crazy. And she knows that he wouldn't just go up to her like.
Yeah.
And just what is he gonna do? Just go and whack him like and make up a reason like that? Yeah. He's not gonna do that. And she knows her dad. At the same time, it's still her dad. If anything, she's gonna be more upset that he didn't tell her
from the jump.
But she's gonna eventually forgive him, and that is gonna start the second generation Rizzo Savino war because she's gonna find out. She's definitely gonna find out how that whole thing got instigated. Now, when he went to go confess to Ralph, when you notice when Ralph saw the fingerprints, right? When he saw the fingerprints, I think we all knew and immediately recognized that he recognized the thumbprint.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, when you have a little sibling that you grew up with and you semi-raised them, you know.
Yeah, well, because like there's things that happens, like the wheels started turning, and you know, even like that a story that he told.
Yeah,
you know,
it made sense.
Yeah,
because he was directly involved with how that scar formulated.
Exactly,
and he probably always thought about it. I mean, he's probably the next closest person to him besides his son. Like he knows everything about his son. He probably knows every little thing about his little brother, and it's not like they're 2 years apart. They're probably like 10 years apart.
Yeah.
You know, there's that big of an age, so he's really his big brother.
Yeah.
So he saw that thumbprint, he probably knew the shape of it and everything.
And also, it's very, I guess when you first look at it, you don't really think, you just think it's the fingerprints. But then when you actually dissect it, I mean, it was
distinct.
Very.
Yeah, it was a very distinct scar. So you might think that it was like maybe when a person planted their thumb, it was a piece of paper in the way, something. But he's probably seen that scar so many times because he's the one that actually stitched him up that it was like, wait a minute. Like, so what was so funny is that they have developed these characters and the actors are doing such a good job of portraying what the writing was being put on paper, is that you knew exactly when Jack showed back up to the sheriff's station, and Ralph was sitting behind that desk sipping on scotch or whiskey or whatever it was he was drinking. You know exactly that he already knew. You knew that Jack was gonna tell him. He was like, "How long have you known?" Like he knew.
Well, but then because what it was too was facial expressions.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest things, especially right now. Like within like these last couple episodes, like you know the dialogue is strong enough, but it's the facial interaction now that you really see. And then so you know because I believe I think that's kind of what it was like with the first couple episodes, really kind of doing character development so we can get to this point.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now it's like okay, when you see like the ADA, we get into that briefly, but you see her facial expressions with the FBI agent, and then anytime you see Dixon interact with a female, or anytime you see him interact with someone else, he has like these certain little facial expressions, so you already know what he's thinking. And so like what you were saying, Thaddeus, with Jack and you have Ralph here, they didn't have to say anything, but they knew exactly what they were talking about.
Right.
The moment that he walked in, there was a look on Ralph's face where he was kind of just sitting back, and I can't mimic the look, but he just had this look. Something that like this classic Dennis Quaid look. He just kind of gave him this look, and you immediately knew what was about to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was balled up. And so
you look like you need a drink.
Yeah. Yeah, and he took the mug, the coffee cup out. So I mean,
one last question about that.
Yeah,
were you surprised that Ralph broke the rules? He burned up his fingerprint.
Well, here's the thing with that.
Special circumstances.
Those are extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Those are beyond special. I mean, the circumstances are extenuating circumstances for one. Secondly, he was even upset that he told Mia.
Yeah.
You can see it in his face.
Yeah.
He said, "Did you tell her?" And or did he say, "I told Mia"?
No, he said he told Mia.
Right? Did he ask him if he told her? Or did he just tell him?
He just told him.
He just told him, right? He said, "I told Mia." He had this look on his face like, "Don't," like that Homer Simpson, "Don't." Like, okay, we're gonna have to deal with it because at the end of the day, he was ready to sweep this whole thing under the rug.
Yeah.
He knows, he said, look, he got me, kidnapped, he had me pinned up. I got the better of him, and that's what happened. He knows his brother's telling the truth.
Yeah.
But they're in essentially a war. Mm-hmm. There's a war between these guys, and Rizzo is the worst of them all.
Yeah.
And it's because he's dating the daughter.
Yeah.
And he said, I told Mia I love her. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. He basically spilled his guts to, put his heart on the table.
Yeah.
And his brother knows what that's like. He's going to be like, okay, this is the woman he loves. But he doesn't, it complicates things for Mia to know from Ralph's perspective because it's like, okay, from a legal standpoint, for one, for Jack's well-being in his future. Secondly, because, well, crap, this is the woman you love. Why would you jeopardize it for this dude who's a piece of crap just because he happens to be her dad? I understand, but still not the best thing to do. All that was pretty much said in his expression when he made that face. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact that he burned the fingerprints. I think it was the right thing to do, quote unquote. Everything that is the law doesn't mean it's the right thing. The law doesn't dictate justice. It's just rules made up by men.
Sometimes doing the right thing isn't doing the right thing.
Exactly, Nicholas. Don't forget that, people. But don't take the law into your own hands. Dun, 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 dun. The more you know, PSA. So, Steve. So,
what?
Nothing. Never mind. That was the PSA. That was the PSA cue.
That was the PSA. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't doing the right thing.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm just making you have that stupid face.
I see. Anyway, so I'm glad that he burned the fingerprints. The more you know. So I'm glad he burned the fingerprints, and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen coming up with this situation, because now Mia is going to have a lot of questions. And Mia, to me, is not such a stupid girl where she would allow the circumstances to overwhelm her logic, her emotions overwhelm her logic. She wouldn't have gotten through Wharton Business School. She wouldn't be where she's at, running a casino and doing everything she's doing. Like, even though she got placed there because her dad was a mob boss, she's obviously more than qualified. She could actually run that hotel. In fact, I think she would do a better job running that hotel than Savino, because I believe that certain circumstances, women have certain isms to their benefit that men don't have. I think she could savvy and swagger and sexy her way into getting yeses out of all the men in that town, because that town is pretty much run by men.
Yeah.
And where other men would need muscle to get things done, she wouldn't need it because they would just be in love with her, and she's dating the sheriff. Like, yes, Miss Rizzo, yes, Miss Rizzo, yes, Miss Rizzo. They would do it for her. So they want to just be in bed with her, and I don't mean literally, but probably do literally too. But you know what I mean? So, that being said, let's go into news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so news. A little birdie told me that Michael Chiklis may be coming in sometime soon. I hope. Keep your fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen, AfterBuzzers. and I hear that he's doing some stuff behind the camera as well. You have any info or input on that, Bamm Ericsen?
Well, I can't reveal the birdie, but yeah, it's rumored that he's directing episodes for Vegas. So that will be cool. I mean, we're already at episode 15, so I'm assuming episode 19, 20, 21, 22, around that.
Summertime before the season's over. And hopefully it's more than one episode. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm sure he's going to do a tremendous job.
Has he directed before? Does anyone know?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all, but I might have to look into that and let you guys know next time we get together. We'll let you guys know about that. But Vegas is still #1 at this time slot for CBS.
That will be correct.
At 10 p.m. on Tuesday evenings. And the show is doing well, and I expect the show to do great. It's already been greenlit for a second season. And the show keeps getting better.
It does.
It started off a little slow for the first quarter of the season.
6 episodes.
Yeah, 5 or 6 episodes. But I mean, when you have a season, you got to string stuff out to get the foundation down. Obviously, and they've done that.
And I'm glad that CBS gave it a chance to let the viewers figure things out and just kind of watch what happens. And and it's a good thing that the viewers, stuck with it.
Yeah, the viewers
kept it the #1 show.
Well, I think you got to think you got
Michael Chiklis.
You got Michael Chiklis, Dennis Quaid,
Jason O'Mara,
Carrie-Anne Moss. You got a band cast.
Amy Garcia. Let's not forget
Amy Garcia. And we didn't mention, as far as the episode is concerned, how the FBI agent was asked the ADA out for a drink. But that's going to be very interesting. So let's go into predictions so we can talk about that. Talk about this. Talk about that. It's like this and like that and like
now,
this, Santa.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so season 1, episode 16. Predictions. Bamm Ericsen, go.
Mia is going to get to the bottom of who killed her dad, and I don't think she's going to forgive.
Well, she did get down to the bottom of that.
Meaning, but
like the whole story.
She wants to know. She's not someone who's going to be satisfied with the fact that, okay, my boyfriend. She's going to get to the nitty gritty, to the who, what, when, where, why.
How do you think she's gonna? What do you think she's gonna do once she finds out? Like,
I think she does believe Jack, but she just doesn't want to right now. And so she's going to go after Savino.
Do you think that she's going to get back together with Jack, or this is going to harm their relationship?
At some point, yes, because I think that she'll probably need him at some point. Mm-hmm. But yes, I think they'll be back together. And then I think as far as Catherine is concerned, Ralph, a woman has a needs. You got to, come on, what's up? So she had to go to the man with the toupee in the front.
Yo, that thing was blowing a little earlier, like a hat was flying off his head. Yeah. Okay, so season 1, episode 16 predictions. Nicholas Perdue, go.
I agree with you, Bamm. And I think that right now, Mia definitely has to figure out what's going on, and she will get back with her man, because I feel something, I don't think something may happen, but she may just have this realization, that this is the guy that she needs to be with, you know what I mean? And so once that happens, then they'll be together and they'll be stronger. So, and this ADA, I don't know. I think she may explore her options.
I think the ADA, for me, the ADA is definitely exploring her options, because when he said me and you go and not take Jack, she was definitely down for it. She was like, okay, cool. I'm getting asked out. Forget Ralph. He can stay in he can stay in the station and do whatever.
I don't think he's that thirsty. That's not what she said, but that's okay.
I mean, she's not, from my experiences, I think even when a woman is not necessarily interested in the guy, she likes the fact that a guy is asking.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think she's entertaining it, even though she still wants to be with Ralph. It makes her feel good to be flirted with and the guy pursue her.
It may put the pressure on Ralph now.
That's definitely going to put the pressure on Ralph. And the thing I like about it is that they ended up on good terms. So the pressure between their relationship is going to come from the situation with the ADA, because we haven't really had a love situation. There's always this kind of lingering, but now the pressure is going to be on Ralph to step up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking forward to for the future episode. Also, I think Savino's wife is going to come help him bail him out.
I thought
because Mia's something's going to happen, and she's going to have to get placed. He's going to have to send for her.
The lady who sabotaged the whole with the money in the suitcase, I actually thought that was Savino's wife at first. That came in the taxi.
Yeah,
thought it was her just for a quick second.
Well, maybe they were trying to foreshadow something.
Maybe.
Have to wait
and see. Okay, well, until next time, where can we find you guys?
You can find me all online, all over the internet, at the Nick Perdue.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bamm Ericsen. And remember, there's not an episode next week, so we'll be back whenever.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus, CLUBTHADDEUS. And you can also find me here on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. for NBC's Deception starring Megan Good, Liza Alonso, Catherine Lanasa, and Victor Garber with Bamm Ericsen. Until next time, AfterBuzzers.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.